I think it's clear now that the emperor has no clothes. The Pentagon is killing us. And we do not live in a democracy. First, I want to talk a little about the Pentagon. There's no such thing as surgical strikes. You cannot kill terrorism. Bombing whole villages into rubble and expecting people who live there not to hate us is folly. The reality is that we have proven time and time again that our strategy is tragically flawed. We are creating enemies faster than we can kill them, at a cost of trillions, at the cost of healthcare, education, and an economy that makes a decent life for people instead of profits for corporations. And on top of that failed war strategy, our country is now embarking on a plan to spend $1.5 trillion on a whole new generation of nuclear weapons. And the Pentagon, of course, is also the worst polluter in the country. But the worst part is the moral depravity. Those who can be the best spokespeople on that issue are religious leaders. We, many of us, are spiritual but not religious. We must build bonds with religious leaders who can share our values, if only on this one issue. It was the Reverend Martin Luther King who said that a nation can never achieve absolute security, but it can easily bankrupt itself financially and morally by attempting to achieve that security through arms alone. So the other aspect of the unclothed emperor is that we do not live in a democracy, and that's because of voter suppression. For some, our votes are drowned out by big money in politics. Others of us never even get to vote at all. It has now been statistically proven that politicians don't respond to what voters want, they respond to what big donors want. We need a constitutional amendment that says that all federal elections are to be exclusively funded through democracy voucher tax credits that give each voting age citizen $100 to donate to the politicians of their choice. Everybody is equal, no big money. And as we've seen in the last election, un-American schemes designed to make it harder for people to vote, especially students, physically disabled, low income, and people of color, are rampant. We will fight it in the courts, we will fight it in the ballot box, and we will fight it by working with local people-powered groups like Rights and Democracy in down-ballot races around the country, by electing people to school boards who will grow to become elected to state legislatures and other statewide officers that will overturn these laws, which are the equivalent of today's poll tax. With our victories and even our almost victories in the recent election, there is an opening, and this meeting is evidence of it. The Progressive Caucus is now the biggest caucus in the House of Representatives. We are a part of a large and potentially powerful movement. We all have our pet issues, but in general, we all want the same stuff: a world that is life-affirming instead of death-defying. But there are these two threshold issues: Pentagon spending and voter suppression, that must be addressed before we can get anything else that we want. Our country, the only remaining superpower on earth, needs to learn to measure its strength not by how many people we can kill, but by how many people we can feed, clothe, house, and care for. Thank you.